What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back again. Power level 780H. We are talking about super cool Final Fantasy cards. Should take a seat, check them out. Number 1, we have the Warrior of Light. It is a white, blue, green, 2/2 legendary creature, human warrior. Whenever a non-token cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. When you have a full party, other creatures you control have indestructible and have hexproof. As we all know, party is a not-so-good mechanic. So, the Warrior of Light, being the original Final Fantasy I cool kid, is here to make that viable, as he is all about his party. So every time you drop a party member, you will draw a card, and when you have that full party, he'll protect everything other than himself. He is very selfless after all. Pretty good aggro defense turtley-burtley strategy. Next up we have the big bad from Final Fantasy I, Chaos, Destroyer of Worlds. For 2 and Rainbow, you get a 7/7 Flying Trample. When Chaos enters the battlefield, exile all gems, then create 4 0/3 gem creature tokens. That's all colors under your control. Tap an untapped gem you control, choose one. Deal 1 damage to target creature, draw a card, then discard a card. Chaos gets +1/+1 until end turn, and target opponent loses life. This is symbolic of the 4 crystals that is used to summon him, and he can manipulate each of those crystals to do various effects. Or he can do them all for the same effect, tapping all the crystals deals someone 4 life, giving him +4/+4 until end of turn. He's very versatile, and I think that makes him really cool. He also has a built-in countermeasure for stacking up gems, because he will exile all gems when he enters, and then make 4. So you'll never have more than 4 unless you have some kind of token of it. Moving on to Final Fantasy VI, we have Terra, Mysterious Mage. For 1 white, blue, red, green, you get a 1/5 human Esper Wizard. She has tap 2 and a white, Kiriga, gain 4 life. Tap 2 and a blue, Blizzaga, tap target creature, draw a card, then discard a card. Tap 2 and a red, Firaga, deal 3 damage to target creature. Tap 2 and a green, Bioga, distribute up to 2 -1/-1 counters for among up to 2 target creatures. And finally, 2 white, blue, red, green, Ultima, deal 4 damage to each creature and each player. Whew, that is a lot of text. So basically, she's like a watered-down Kenrith. Her abilities are not quite as busted as his, but they can actually remove creatures unlike his. She is supposed to be a mage with control of all elements, so giving her the ability to use her spell list is great, and her Ultima is able to hit everything, including her, but not quite kill her, unless she's already been dealt damage, Everyone's favorite clown, Final Fantasy VI's Kefka Palazzo, Crazed Jester. For 2, a red-black, you get a 3/3 Death Touch. Whenever a creature is the target of a spell or ability, each player chooses up to 1 new target for that spell or ability that it could target. The target is chosen at random from among those choices. This ability triggers only once each turn. Long story short, if someone tries to kill Kefka with, let's say, murder, player 2 has a creature that they want gone, they can target that. I can target something else. Player 3 can target something else. And then because we chose 4 targets, it's randomly decided from among those 4 as to where that murder goes. But if, let's say, I'm the big bad and someone wants to kill Kefka, and then I pick your creature, and then every other opponent picks Kefka, or just doesn't pick anything, because it is up to, then it is a 50-50. Now the reason this is once per turn is because this can get extremely annoying to try to remove Kefka without a board wipe. In addition, this does work on things like auras and equipments, anything that targets creatures at all. So they can use some random targeting thing to remove his ability and then remove a person. It's a lot of counterplay, but it's also very on brand for Kefka being super crazy and random. Moving on to Final Fantasy VII, because, you know, we have to. Cloud, Soldier First Class. For white, black, red, green, you get a 4/4 legendary creature, Human Soldier. When Cloud enters the battlefield, exile up to 4 target instant or sorcery cards from among graveyards with mana value 3 or less with materia counters on them. When Cloud attacks, you may choose up to 2 cards exiled with materia counters on them and cast those spells without paying their mana cost. So when he enters, he eats 4 things from among everyone's graveyard, and they have to be 3 or less. So no putting extra turns under him. And then you get to, whenever he swings, you cast 2 of them for free, and then they'll go back to those graveyards. So, if you are able to swing twice with Cloud, cast all 4 of those spells, then, and you are able to blink Cloud, put him back in, you can grab those same spells, or new spells, or what have you. Very versatile, very fun, because you get to, you know, it's everyone's graveyard, not just yours, so you can find some cool stuff in your opponent's bins. Super fun card. Very much wish it was real. And of course, Sephiroth the Lost Archangel. For 4 white, black, red, your legendary creature, Human Soldier. Flying First Strike Vigilance, he has Octoslash. When Sephiroth attacks, deal 8 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Heartless Angel. At the beginning of your end step, reduce up to 1 target creature's toughness to 1 until the end of your next turn. And Black Materia, black, 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 and 10. Target player loses the game. So 7 mana, 8/8, flying First Strike Vigilance is very good already. Whenever it swings, it basically kills a creature unless they have some absurd amount of toughness. At the end of your turn, he can reduce something big that is over 8 to 1, or reduce something that is a problem down to 1, and you can follow it up with your own burn spell to remove it. And of course, he can pay 5 black and 10 to make a player just outright die. The reason this is not just 15 and it has 5 black is 1, it is the black materia after all, and 2, it is a lot harder to get 5 pips of black than to simply get 15 colorless mana. In addition, Octoslash is his famous move. If you've played Smash, it's his up B. And Heartless Angel is something he's had in games where it reduces a character's health to 1. And this is just a good thing to add to the card. Overall, it just seems like a big Ooga Booga value engine that can potentially knock a player out of the game. Importantly to know, this is not target opponent, this is target player. So if it is redirected to your face, well, that's unfortunate. Next up for 8, we have Squall Tenacious Warrior. For 1 white, red, green, you get a 3/3 legendary creature, Human Warrior. He has Draw. When Squall enters the battlefield or attacks, exile the top card of target player's library until they exile a colored card or 5 cards, whichever comes first. Squall gains lifelink if the card is white, hexproof if the card was blue, death touch if that card was black, first strike if the card was red, and trample if the card was green. This effect can cause multiple effects if the card is multicolored. Then, if the card was 2 or more colors, draw a card. Would be weird if the ability was called Draw and didn't draw you a card, but that's not what it's from. In the games, you are able to draw power from your enemies and then use them on them. So this is a good representation of drawing power from your opponents and then giving Squall these abilities. Notice that they do not say until end of turn, so he does just get to keep all of those abilities. And every time he enters or swings, ideally you probably want to target a new player to get all of those colors active. The reason it says exile until they hit a colored thing, or up to 5 cards, is because if someone is playing a colorless deck, you might not want to just play this and instantly kill them. That would be a little unfair. Anyway, if you are able to exile all 5 colors, then you have a 3/3 lifelinking, hexproof, first strike, trampling, death toucher. It's rough, Chief. That's rough. Now we have Edea, the Frost Touched. For 1 blue, 1 black, you get a 1/3 legendary creature human wizard. When a creature deals damage to you, tap that creature and put a stun counter on it and a frost counter on Edea. Tap, destroy target tapped creature, activate this ability only if Edea has 3 or more frost counters on it. So this is symbolic of her limit break, which is, I believe, is Frost Lance, where she kills Squall. I'm sorry if you are getting spoiled on a game that is like 20 years old, but she do that. Anyway, she builds up power over time to do it, and then she's just able to throw deadly frost spears. Mechanically, this commander is very cool because it does not say combat damage, it just says damage. So if you're playing against some kind of like Perforos or something that's burning you multiple times, you'll get those counters up really fast, and you'll be able to snipe whatever non-indestructible threat comes your way. From Final Fantasy X, we have Yuna, Grand Summoner. For 1 white, blue, red, you get a 1/4 legendary creature human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose 1. Create a 3/3 legendary spirit token with flying named Valifor. Create a 4/4 legendary spirit token with trample named Ifrit. Create a 5/1 legendary token with haste named Ixion. And then the passive is Sending. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it instead. If you control tokens named Valifor, Ifrit, and Ixion, also draw a card. So Yuna is a summoner. She summons big, scary monsters, and if she is able to have all of them out at the same time, then every time a creature an opponent controls would die, it instead gets exiled and you draw a card. And that can be insanely good value, considering that it is a rest in peace on your commander. In addition, the Sending is what she's doing in that art, which is where she is removing all of the souls that were destroyed by sin. Speaking of, Sin, Herald of Oblivion. For 5 blue, black, green, you get an 8/8 legendary creature, God. Flying, Death Touch, Trample. When Sin enters the battlefield, if it was cast, exile each other creature. When Sin attacks, exile up to 1 target creature. When Sin dies, exile it and choose target creature an opponent controls. When that creature leaves the battlefield, return Sin from exile to the battlefield under its owner's control. So just like the games, when Sin comes in, he blows everything away with his devastating might. And then if he still remains on the battlefield, he then proceeds to remove more things. And when he dies, he himself gets exiled under an opponent's creature, basically. And when that creature leaves, he'll re-enter. He will not exile each other creature again, because it is only if it was cast. But he will stick around as a scary 8/8 Flying Death Touch Trample. And that's it from my list of 10 custom Final Fantasy cards. I think they are very cool and unique, and we really, really need some more 4-color commanders, so I'm happy to throw that out there. Wizards, again, I'm really good at this. Hit me up. You have my number. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you comment down below if you think you like any of these designs, if you think maybe they should have been a different color, maybe you think their abilities should have been a little different, if you think they're unbalanced or need to be even buffed, let me know. I would love your feedback. In any case, have a nice day.